I want you to stop doing whatever you're doing right now. Sit down and listen to me. Why do you hate yourself? Why are you so insecure? And why do you feel like you're not good enough? I need you to hear this. I see you and you are not alone. Loving yourself isn't about waking up one day and you feel suddenly confident. It's not about pretending to be okay when you're not okay. It's a journey and a process. Someday, it will feel impossible to love yourself. From a very young age, we are taught to compare ourselves to other girls, to influencers that we see on social media, to those impossible beauty standards that we're trying so hard to fit in. And every single time we open social media, without realizing it, we compare ourselves with other people. And it makes us feel like we're not good enough. We have people in our life like our friends, our family, and people on the street, like strangers, that made us feel so small, unworthy, and unloved. I know this feeling because I experienced it before. Look, I used to be very insecure. I hated myself. I never felt like I was pretty enough. And deep down, I believed I wasn't intelligent enough. And I had zero confidence. But I forced myself to fake my own confidence, hoping one day it will feel real. I remember once I told my friends about that I hate my big bum, but instead they were so surprised that I hated what they've been wanting to have for such a long time. They actually wanted what I had. And that's when I realized something. We spend so much time hating ourselves for what we don't have, thinking that if we could have that one thing, if we could just change one thing about ourselves, if we were taller, we're skinnier, and we had that hot body, we will finally be confident about ourselves and we'll finally be happy. But we forget that someone else is looking at us, someone else wanting to be us, is someone else insecurity because wishing they had what we have. This is the first step to self-love, is to love yourself for what you have and stop hating yourself for what you aren't. Your worth has never depended on somebody else's opinion. It was never about how you look, how much you weigh, or how perfect your life seems. Your worth has been there within you the entire time. When you feel insecure, it's not because you're lacking of something. It's because you've been conditioned to believe that you are lack of something. It's your body, your mind telling you that there is something deeper within you, like unresolved trauma or unresolved experience that you got when you were a child, a wound from the past that still lingers there. You are not broken. And what you believe about yourself, you can unlearn that. So how exactly you can love yourself? You do not just wake up one day and you feel like you love yourself and you feel suddenly so confident. You wake up one day and you decide that you are going to take care of yourself. That's how you start to love yourself. The way you talk about yourself matters. If you tell yourself, I'm ugly, like I'm not enough, I'll never be loved again, no one's gonna love me, your brain starts to believe it. But imagine if your best friend is telling you all of these bad stuff about her to herself, what would you gonna say to her? Wouldn't you tell her that she's smart, she's beautiful, she's amazing? If you tell these things to your friends, how come you can't give the same kindness to yourself? You deserve that kindness too. When negative thoughts arise in your mind, challenge them. Asking, why am I feeling this way? Why do I think this way? If I'm not feeling good, I usually have these negative thoughts in my head about myself, but then how can I change that mindset so that it won't affect me? I strive to change the narratives about how I see myself. I change into a positive affirmations. If you don't believe that affirmation works, you are in the wrong place. Positive affirmation work, and it helps you to believe in your head that you are amazing. It's like a mantra every day that you use to spell yourself so that you believe how amazing you are. Comparison is actually the thief of joy. Every time you scroll through Instagram and think, I wish I looked like her. I wish I had that body. Look, What you see on Instagram, on social media, it's not the truth. It's not the whole thing about a person, because you only see a perfect looking version of their life. So everyone actually has insecurities, but they're not gonna show it on social media. They're not gonna show it making content feeling insecure. They probably cry every night feeling anxious, but they're not gonna show it. Everybody's trying to put their best self on social media. So when you're looking at somebody's life on social media and you feel like you want to compare your life, you don't know what's behind the curtain. Everybody has insecurities, even the most perfect looking person. The only person you need to be better off, it's not the person you're looking at social media, it's the person you were yesterday. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room, having all the branded bags, having flawless skin. It's about owning who you are, accepting all of your imperfections and every single thing about you. I could be able to start loving myself because I had no choice. I had no choice to love myself. I had to love myself to survive. Not just because all of these shitty things that ever happened to me, but because I have to love myself. I got out from a toxic relationship one day. It wasn't very easy for me. Being in a toxic relationship, it made me feel so insecure deep down. And I wanted to look myself in the mirror one day after that, depression era. And I was like, you know why? Now I know why I feel very insecure lately. It's because the whole time I wasn't taking care of myself. And that includes choosing to be with the wrong person, not being able to leave him to choose myself, neglect my own happiness to stay with this toxic person. You don't know how much dating a wrong person, a toxic person, can have such a big impact on your self-esteem. You don't realize suddenly over time you feel more insecure than you were before, because you are being in constant stress, fight and flight mode for years and years when you are in that relationship. And for me, I didn't realize that it was made me physically horrible. I was depressed for potentially years, and I didn't take care of how I look. I love fashion, guys. I love fashion. I love clothes. I love putting on makeup and dressing up. I just love that. But when I was in this toxic relationship, I didn't like to do that, and I didn't like to show up for myself. But when you were in a toxic relationship, your brain was trying so hard to survive. So then you don't even have energy to even putting on makeup, taking care of yourself. So I remember it was midnight and I could not sleep at all because, I was kept reminded of the trauma that the person left me, and I was crying so hard and feeling so anxious. And I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, I look so ugly. No one's gonna like me. And then you know what I did? I put on my favorite little dress that I've never worn for a long time, and I put my makeup on, I did my hair, and it amazed me on how much just dressing up, it could change the way I look about myself. And I was like, I'm actually not ugly. I just didn't take care of myself. When you start dressing up for yourself and showing up for yourself every single day, you'll feel more comfortable in your own skin and you will be more confident. That's when I realized that no one can comfort me except myself. I had no one that could make myself feel better except myself. There's no one in the world who can understand me better than myself. So I only had me. How come I hated myself so much? How come I don't love myself during that depression time? While the whole time I only had myself. I only have me who comfort me and make me feel better. It's me. It was me who did that. I am my own biggest fan and I am my own biggest cheerleader. The most important relationship you have is the one that you have with yourself. So how come you don't love yourself? I had no choice to hug myself and say thank you for surviving all of this shit. Thank you for being there. And I've never felt like I truly love myself until that time. If you spend years of your life hating yourself, learning to love yourself, it will feel uncomfortable. But healing your insecurities is actually possible. And I'm going to tell you how I did it myself. The first step, ask yourself, what would someone that truly loved and respected themselves will do? Will they talk bad about themselves? Would they let fear, insecurities, or comparison hold them back? And if the answer is no, then ask yourself, what things that stop you doing the same thing? What things that stop you to love yourself? For me, self-love didn't come easily. It was a choice that I had to make over and over again, even when it felt impossible to love myself. I remember I booked myself a meditation and breathwork workshop because I was very, very anxious, and I thought that booking this can heal my anxiety. And during the session, I remember we were paired up, and the instructor asked us to share about what we are grateful for. And I sat across this very beautiful girl. And when it was my turn to speak, the words felt like it came out naturally. And I said, I'm grateful for my heart. And in that moment, I realized something. For so long, for such a long time, I had only focused on what I could see, comparing my appearance, my flaws, the things that I wish I could change about myself. Like, I want to be as pretty as her, I want to be as hot as her, I want to have her body. But I had ignored the most beautiful part of me, the most beautiful part of you. It's our heart. We spend so much time obsessing over wishing we look like someone else. But then we forget about the one thing that makes us truly, truly beautiful. It's our kindness, our love, our soul, our capability to love someone, our heart who loves to forgive people, who give kindness to everybody. And that's when I knew I had to love myself, because I got something big inside me. And also I was thinking I had no other choice. I wanted to love someone again. I wanted to be in a relationship, to have someone to hold on, and I want someone to love me. But then I asked myself, how can you love someone? Start a new relationship, build a family, giving love to your children when you don't even love yourself. How can you pour love into someone else when you don't pour love into yourself? The truth is, you cannot give something that you do not have. If you don't love yourself, how come you can fully love someone? Loving yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. It starts right now with the choice you see yourself differently. Your heart is beautiful and your soul is irreplaceable. And no amount of comparison will ever change that. So next time you look yourself in the mirror, don't just focus on what you see. Remember who you are deeply, and choose every day to love yourself a little more than yesterday, because you deserve that. You have always. If you think that you need to be someone else for people to like you, you believe that if you act in a certain way, dress differently, or change who you are, you'll be accepted. Why do you want people to like you? Why you're putting people on pedestal? Because putting people on a pedestal, it won't make them like you even more. It won't make them value you. In fact, it actually does the opposite. Imagine you're just a big ball, but then when you shrink yourself to fit into somebody else's mold, they actually can be able to sense your energy. You have this desperate energy to be accepted by them. And instead of being drawn to you, it's actually make them pull away. The truth is, people gravitate towards those people who are comfortable in their own skin. This, magnetic and confident people. That's why you need to own who you are without needing someone else's approval. You gotta say this to yourself: I'm happy. I don't need to pretend to be somebody else just to make them like me even more. If they accept me for who I am, great. If they don't like me, it's okay, because I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm here to be me, to be myself. The moment you stop chasing other people's approval or validation, you step into your power. You got your power back because you see yourself inward. And when you do that, the right people will actually be drawn to you, because you reflect when you get your power back, you reflect such a good energy. So stop changing yourself for others. Stop seeking approval. Just be you. That's more than enough. We don't need other people to tell us that we're beautiful, because we already know that. We don't need other people to validate us, because we could be able to validate ourselves. Our worth doesn't come from getting compliments from others. All the love that we get from social media, it means nothing. I'm telling you the truth. Because the only approval and validation that we need, it comes from ourselves. It comes from within. It comes from the way we treat ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves in the mirror, from the love and kindness we show to ourselves every single day. Because the truth is, if you rely on others to make you feel worthy, you will always be searching for people's validation, and it's not gonna be ever enough. You will always waiting for someone to tell you that you are enough, you're beautiful, you're amazing. But what happens when you don't get it? What happens when you don't get their validation? What happens when all the compliments stop? That's why your worth cannot be given to you. It has to come from you. So instead of waiting for someone to call you beautiful, believe it yourself. Instead of waiting for someone to choose you, choose yourself. Because the moment that you validate yourself, the moment you love yourself, you will become unstoppable. And that's the most beautiful thing. Loving yourself is a journey. Some days it will be easier than others, but every step you take, it will lead you towards self-love, and it's worth it. You're not broken for feeling this way. You are not unworthy. If this video spoke to you, you gotta remember, you are never alone in this journey, because we are in this together. Until next time, beautiful angel, I'll see you in the next video, and I love you so much. Bye.